YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and here we are at Week 6 of the NFL coming up. We actually got one more game for Week 5. That's Titans-Bills. We'll be live tweeting on Twitter on that game, giving you my takeaways. We'll actually have a recap tonight, and we'll kind of go over that Saints-Chargers game as well. So late night recap after the game. Thought, why not? So we'll break that down. But here we are, Week 6 coming up. We got rookie power rankings. I'm going to give you the top 15 rookies in the NFL right now. We're going to go from 15 to 1. This is a video we can update every single week. So we have our regular power rankings every single week for the actual NFL teams. And now we're adding rookie power rankings that, again, we'll update every single week. So always adding content here, all kinds of content, weekly predictions, and much more. Please subscribe to the channel. Trying to reach 60K. We much appreciated. Again, Twitter, a lot going on there. Instagram, podcast, Patreon, a little different upload schedule this week. We'll keep you updated on the Twitter, but most uploads are a day later this week just because of that Tuesday night game that's actually happening tonight. Right before we get into this video, Patreon has a bunch of extra content, adding more as we speak. Actually added more last week. Junior score predictions, my lock/bets of the week for the NFL, and we added that for college football as well. Also added an NFL upset watch. We take all underdogs each week, and I give them a percentage they can win the game. Pretty cool to look at. And also maybe if you're thinking about trying to put money on a money line upset, perhaps that could help as well. College football score predictions, bonus content videos, hopefully adding some of those in the near future for that top tier. Discord access, much more. A lot going on that Patreon during NFL season, even in the draft season. So check it out. Support us and get extra content. We much appreciate it. If you can just check it out. Link down below. Number 15, and you see in the top right here, we got the next three that just missed. There's a bunch of rookies that just missed. I had a bunch of, you see I used their pictures, little icon of their picture. I had a bunch of guys up here originally. So those guys I didn't forget about. So the next three that just missed, Jedrick Wills, the tackle. The Browns looking pretty good early on. Laviska Shenault, that do-it-all type weapon. Even see him get some carries as well, but being a very solid receiver so far for the Jaguars this season. And Mekhi Becton, another lineman. The linemen are looking pretty good this year. Going to talk about a couple of them here soon. But coming in at number 15 here is Julian Blackman, the safety, free safety of the Indianapolis Colts. They drafted him out of Utah. Utah producing some pretty good DBs recently. And Blackman was drafted a little bit of not too much of a surprise pick, maybe a little bit actually, because they had Malik Hooker. But remember, Malik Hooker, upcoming free agent, and it keeps getting injured. He's a pretty good playmaker in the back end. And it kind of felt like where they took Blackman, are they getting ready to replace Malik Hooker? And it kind of felt like that. Malik Hooker was a starter to start the year. Understandable. Goes down. Julian Blackman steps in. He's actually looked really good. Maybe if he's played every game, actually maybe he could be a little higher on this list. But he's actually looked really good back there. And he's got a lot of upside. Let me tell you why. Because he actually played corner at Utah most of his career up until last year, actually. And he wasn't too good of a corner. He's athletic, he's long, he can make a play on the ball, but he just didn't have the physicality to play on the outside, and come up and hit there as well. Just handling physical receivers or receivers that were faster than him as well. They moved him to safety, and he played pretty well the 1 year at free safety. And so that's the only experience he has there. So that tells us in the way he's playing already, stepping up. He really wasn't supposed to be stepping in this early either. And that's fantastic. Fantastic sign here for Julian Blackman and the Colts. Looks like a pretty good pick there. Pretty sneaky good pick. Speaking of the Colts, Jonathan Taylor got 2 in a row for the Colts. That's pretty good. Only 15 players on this list. Jonathan Taylor comes in at number 14. Their running back from Wisconsin has taken care of the ball early on. That's the main thing that stands out because he had a fumbling problem in his career at Wisconsin. So that's great. And being involved in the passing game as well, catching the ball, at a pretty successful rate there, and running pretty well as well. For the most part, the season kind of up until the Browns game, I guess minus the Jags game as well. But the other few games, it felt like this offense, the defense did the work. Offense kind of had to be a game manager thing, so they kind of put a lot on Taylor there and their other running backs. I thought he did a fantastic job here. Again, I probably should have mentioned this already. Much like my regular team power rankings, these aren't predictions. If these were predictions, they would look a little different for the end of the year. These are just update every week, how guys are playing. The resume for the entire year up to this point, so 5 weeks in, definitely matters. I think everyone understands that for this. 13 is going to be Chase Claypool. A huge week for the Steelers and for the rookie receiver here this last week against the Eagles. Big time week. And that's mainly the resume there for how he's played so far up until week 6. And it was fantastic. You know, if this was a rankings off week 6 alone, he'd probably be number 1. It was that good. But I do think some people could say, well, how is he ranked in the top 15 only off 1 week? Yeah, it was really good. But actually, if you go back and look, he's played pretty well in the other games. And I'm not a big stats guy. Obviously, production matters. But when he got the chance in the other games, which was somewhat limited, remember he plays special teams as well, but somewhat limited, he made big plays when he got the opportunity. You know, it felt like every single time they threw the ball at him, he got the touch. He made a big-time play. So it's actually more than just last week. But, you know, when we're talking the best of the best here, only 15 guys, only 12 guys ahead of him. Yeah, he's going to need more games like this, or, you know, you can't expect that every week, but more action. I guess it's just more reps. It's really, he's that good. It's really on the Steelers getting more reps. So if I had to predict, which is not predictions, but I would predict him to start to climb the board here because he's a threat. He's a mismatch problem. He fits the Steelers perfectly, and they're going to start to use him more. So we'll see if he can continue to climb. I almost expect him to here after that last week's game. Number 12, kind of a surprising one, Michael Onwenu here for the Patriots. You see the Patriots have some opt-outs, have some injuries in the O-line. They're going to have a young rookie here step up, and he's actually played, lights out. You know, really not, run blocking is excellent, not giving up any really quarterback pressures, definitely no sacks so far. And that almost sounds like he should be ranked a little higher. He doesn't have the biggest sample size. He has a good amount of snaps, definitely north of 100 snaps. The other offensive linemen have north of 300. So we want to see more snaps here, which we will. And that would be a reason that maybe he's not ranked in the top 10 or 5 even, but he's played pretty darn good at this early stage with a limited amount of snaps. So Michael Onwenu is definitely one sleeper to look out for there. Number 11, I'm going to surprise the people with this one, maybe, just based on the way other people were talking. But Chase Young, who, again, these aren't predictions at the end of the year. I predict Chase Young to be towards the top. You can see the talent is very much there. He's an absolute beast. He did miss some time here. Maybe that hurts him a little bit. His production isn't off the charts right now, which we kind of expected it to be, but it was because he missed some time. So if he continues to play, I think he'll climb. But I think other people, when ranking rookies or discussing rookies, they put him in the top just because it's Chase Young and they believe he'll be at the top at the end. But in something that we're going to update weekly, I don't really think it makes sense to just put him at the top because who he is and because the talent. I know the talent he has. I know it's better than number 11. And we've seen it. We just need to see the full thing here, full go every single week. So he's just missed the top 10 for now. But again, a guy I definitely expect to keep climbing. Probably the favorite still for Defensive Rookie of the Year, even though there's some guys that are beating him for that. We'll talk about them a little bit. James Robinson, another rookie, maybe another running back as well, unexpected one because he was undrafted at Illinois State. You see the value of the running back position going down. Not a whole bunch of them drafted in general, but too high either. And then the ones that are drafted are usually the ones that people view, or scouts, GMs, coaches view as sure things or home run hitters. So James Robinson, I guess his problem, why he didn't go undrafted, 1, he's a running back. 2, he was very good. He wasn't as explosive maybe as Jonathan Taylor, and especially the competition that he played, for an example. There's many other running backs. And mainly a big one was wear, because he doesn't have wear yet, but it's something that you expect maybe to pop up early in his career because how much they used him at Illinois State, how many career carries they have. So slight things will push a running back specifically back to undrafted, but he's showing why he should have been drafted. A very good back. I think he has a tough responsibility too, because it's especially the team's game planning for the Jags offense now. Everyone's kind of brought in, so that even on pass plays, it's mainly for pass plays because they go quick, they go short. But even when they throw the run in there, everyone's pretty much up in the box. Everyone's pressed. It's easier for the outside guys to even get in. So the amount of yardage he's getting, based on everyone kind of, I don't want to say stacking the box, but they're up. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty darn impressive. So, yeah, definitely an impressive dude. A surprise guy to see in the top 10. We would not have predicted this heading into the year. So he cracks the top 10. Number 9 is going to be, I think, by far the best rookie cornerback this year, and Jalen Johnson. If you remember my pre-draft valuations, I was labeling this guy as pro-ready, and we're starting to see that right now in the Utah corner. We got a Utah safety, and we got a Utah corner on the list. So the Bears corner, Adding him was big time. I had a first-round grade on him. They add him in the second round, pairing him with Kyle Fuller, a really good duo. Corners, it seems like that's a position where they struggle early. They early in the career, it takes time for them to develop into that top tier guy that they expect him to be, or if it's just a good guy they expect him to be, rather wherever the talent level they expect, the potential. It takes some time, and there's some struggles early, and we see that from some other corners. But Jalen Johnson's you can see the pro ready. He has some sloppy moments. He definitely has some sloppy moments early in the Buccaneers game. Mike Evans looked like he was going to have a pretty good day on him. They ended up putting, not full-time, but they put Fuller on him more. That helped a little bit. But Jalen Johnson, I like his physicality, not afraid to come up and hit. Always tight in coverage, even when he allows catches. He's very tight in coverage, not allowing a big passer rating. Keeps everything in front, basically. So the catches he does allow seems to be, just things really up in front, and he comes up, makes the play. So he's actually looking very impressive here. I think by far the best rookie corner so far. Some other ones, you see Okudah missed a little bit of time, but most of them are really struggling. That's really not a surprise. I'm really not trying to knock the other guys because that's usually what corners do early on in their career. It's a big reason I don't like drafting corners early because there's not too much of a difference between a guy taking third overall and a guy taking second round like this right away and maybe in general. Obviously, you expect a guy like Okudah to have more upside. I still believe he's the better prospect. But Johnson comes in at number 9 inside the top 10. Huge for him and the Bears. Number 8 to me, Clyde EdwardsHelaire, my number 1 running back from the draft class, and he comes in at number 8. Obviously, we see the talent. It's there. We've seen it right from the get-go in week 1. My only knock here is really not on him. It's it may be similar to Chase Claypool. It's just a matter of them using him more. I look at the last game against the Raiders, actually. Huge average, getting chunk plays. The Raiders were almost planning for pass almost every play. The Chiefs should have used Clyde EdwardsHelaire a bit more, and they had a chance to win that game. So the talent is definitely there. The production's there. Based on the talent that we've already seen, you kind of wish there was more production, but that's really not a knock on him. So if they use him more, which he could be limited because they have the best passing game in football, they have the best weapons on the perimeter in football, or not even just on the perimeter, everywhere. So that could continue to happen, but he's still a very good rookie here and definitely up for Rookie of the Year. So we see how good, even Jalen Johnson could be in the battle for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's all the way down at number 9, but it's a tough class to be in here. Out of all the rookies, we only got 15 plus 3 here. Number 7, Justin Jefferson. First 2 weeks, a little disappointing because they barely even used him. So that's really not his fault, but you kind of wonder why aren't they using him that much. He's supposed to be kind of a safe pick, a sure thing, just a plug-and-play guy, a guy that can scheme. You can scheme up to get open, and he can get open on his own, can play outside slot, and then all of a sudden we start seeing him, and he's really breaking loose here. So a guy with more reps as season goes on, I expect to keep on climbing. Maybe expected a little more in that Seattle game, but that, once again, was the Vikings just focusing on the run game, not passing enough maybe. Mainly the Titans and the Texans game, which were outstanding for him, is what's keeping him up. But those were some of the best rookie performances this year, and now he's getting more reps. So he definitely should continue to climb. So he's at number 7 for me here heading into week 6. Number 6 is going to be Justin Herbert. I might surprise some people with that too. I think people kind of give bonus points to quarterback just because they're a quarterback. I'm not really going to do that. If they're playing great, they'll be at the top. And he is playing great, and that's why he's towards the top. But I'm going to put who I think is the most impressive, best player, best rookie at the very top. Herbert's been very impressive, though. Very impressive. And I kind of been talking about this. It's really not that surprising, though, because this is it's the same guy at Oregon, but they're unleashing him a little more, which I love. The wild balls, I like to call them. The downfield explosive deep balls are beautiful. The velocity on the ball is beautiful, but those are things we saw at Oregon. Just some mental mistakes towards the end of the game. We've seen in kind of every game so far. It's not a big deal because he's just kind of getting thrown in there, but hopefully it's things that they can fix. He doesn't have a win yet. I think that game against the Saints last night wasn't really on him. He played a fantastic game. In fact, I think they should have used him more. The other games, he kind of had that mental mistake towards the end of games that could have hurt them a little bit. But again, not a big deal because he's a rookie quarterback getting thrown in, didn't start week 1. Overall, been very impressive So I do have Justin Herbert at number 6. It's a guy that I can't wait to watch every week, really, because it's that ultimate prospect that you can love and then you can kind of be low on at the same time. You kind of go back and forth because he can wow you with things and then he can have the mental mistakes. But yeah, definitely a guy that I cannot wait to watch going forward here. Number 5 is the other quarterback, Joe Burrow. And you actually can debate this, that you can put Herbert ahead of Joe Burrow. I still got Burrow ahead. Burrow might have a little tougher task. I don't know if I factor that in that much. The Ravens game, I guess, made it interesting, because it was a tough game for him. Not a lot he can do. The best blitzing team in football really got after him. But that made things interesting. If it wasn't for that Ravens game, I think Joe Burrow would probably be higher than 5, and it wouldn't be that debatable between Burrow and Herbert. But for now, I do have Burrow a little higher. I think the difference is those, not major problems right now, but those slight mental mistakes, towards the end. Herbert, he's got to take it easy sometimes, throw the ball away. So had some mistakes later in games and then hasn't got that win yet. But again, I don't think the Saints game really was his fault at all there. So that would be the difference, slight difference. Joe Burrow at 5. 4 is going to be Patrick Queen. Just speaking of Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Patrick Queen had a monster game against the Bengals. Absolute monster game. They used him in the blitz a lot, made plays, forced fumbles, pretty solid in coverage as well. He's a perfect fit for Don Martindale's scheme there. The way they're going to use him, they're going to blitz him a lot. He's been fantastic. High motor guy. Could sniff out runs in the backfield as well. And he's climbing. After the first couple weeks, he might not have been maybe wouldn't have made the 15. Probably pretty close. Not that he wasn't playing good or anything. Anybody that I mentioned here is playing great because think of all the rookies here. But he's really making his way up the board. He probably started just outside of 15, kind of snuck in maybe a little bit, and then really boosted up these last 2 weeks, I'd say. Really last week, but the week before he was very solid as well. So he's on his way up. He is soaring up. Stock up for Patrick Queen. Perfect fit with the Ravens. Already off to a hot start. Number 3, pretty close, up for the top defensive guy, up for defensive rookie of the year here. I'm going to go Antoine Winfield, still the top defensive guy, was my number 1 safety in the class, and I didn't think it was, I thought it was a no-brainer, really, just because I thought he was the best free safety, I thought he was the best strong safety, I thought he was the best nickel/box safety, or corner, whatever you want to call it. And that's kind of being proven, so far this year. Bucs defense has been pretty solid, and he's all over the place making plays, whether it's blitzing, getting after quarterback, whether it's deep downfield, making that big-time making play, playing in the slot, again, playing strong, free. He plays literally everywhere. The Bucs defense is young, improving, and it's pretty complete, and I'd say they actually need one more safety. That's really the only weaker spot is one more safety. I do like Mike Edwards at times, but I'm not an every-down guy, and they use other guys as well. But I think Winfield kind of has to carry the load at times. They just use him in the most important spot, which changes. And that's because how good he is and how much of a game changer he is. Again, whether he's up in the box, whether he's back, making plays back there, getting after quarterback, whatever it is. Very instinctive, too. Really good at reading the quarterback. No matter where he is as well. So just things that you really can't coach. Saw that in tape Minnesota and why I thought he was easily the best safety in the class. And it was very, very, very surprising that 3 went before him. Just still mind-blowing to me. Maybe because he's short. I think people are still overreacting from guys, size. If you can play, you can play. Always been a believer of that. I think that's starting to fade away a little bit. But still the old school guys, I think they're 2 in on that. Now we're on to the top 2. Buccaneers looking pretty good. They got number 2, Tristan Worfs, the Iowa tackle. Now the Buccaneers right tackle. He's been fantastic for them. Outstanding. He wasn't my number 1 tackle prospect. I had Jedrick Wills, who was on the next 3 here, just missed it. Just missed. He's playing fantastic. But going into this year, if you remember, I ranked all these players, to all the NFL players together going into the season, and I had Worfs easily the best rookie tackle for this season. I thought he was the most pro-ready. I thought kind of being that last piece to the puzzle on the Buccaneers, I guess debatable. They could use the left tackle in the future, but the last piece for now, we know. And then playing with Tom Brady, playing under Bruce Arians, guys like that, left of which, fantastic. On top of being plug-and-play, pro-ready guy, I thought it was a no-brainer. He was going to play like the best rookie tackle this year in year one, and so far it's a no-brainer, no question that he absolutely has been. He's been fantastic. You see the difference. I think Brady plays a big part of it too, but the difference of the Bucs O-line from last year to this year is insane. I think it's because of two things. It's because of Brady, and it's because of Tristan Worfs. He's locked down. You locked down Joey Bosa. I mean, insane game against Joey Bosa. Insane game every step of the way. He faces Khalil Mack, who is still arguably the best pass rusher in football. One of the elite defensive players. And first half, he really held him down. Matt got the best of him on one play later in the game. But that was really it. That was a crazy play from Khalil Mack. And I think people were kind of talking about that, how Worfs got beat up on that play. But that's one play against maybe the very best in football. One play. They had to move Khalil Mack, smart, obviously, over to Donovan Smith because Khalil Mack could have a field day on Donovan Smith and did. But that just shows how good Tristan Worfs is. As a whole this season has been dominant, has been a big reason why the Buccaneers offense has really stepped up. And now we are on to my number one for week 6, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I got CeeDee Lamb at the top, Cowboys wide receiver. Yeah, and you wish maybe you wish the Cowboys had more wins, but I guess the receiver doesn't really control that. CeeDee Lamb was my number one receiver in the class. He's got some tough company. The guys you see listed here, we know a guy like Jerry Jeudy's going to pick it up. Henry Ruggs is healthy again. We've seen him go off last week, so we could see more of him, want more reception from him. But the list goes on and on with these receivers. There's even some deeper guys in the draft, later guys that are really standing out. And we see how crazy this draft class is. But CeeDee Lamb leads the way for the rookies for me. It's a guy that I had no question in my mind when scouting him that he's just as good outside in the slot. The Cowboys draft him because he's the best player available, and they have two really good outside receivers. So what they do is they're playing CeeDee Lamb in the slot, and that is just a problem for other teams, just an absolute problem. It looks like he's the number one receiver. And not really debating talent there. We can debate talent all day. Who's the most talented receiver on that team? But CeeDee Lamb looks like he is their most targeted right now. He had 11 targets last week. He is getting open the most. Maybe that's because he's from the slot, but at the end of the day, he's getting open. And I think the other guys are creating for him, Cooper and Gallup, that is, but I think he is creating for them. You see Lamb, big play after big play against the Giants specifically, and they take that shot to Gallup, make that big play to basically win the game there. So Lamb, and you see how explosive he is after the catch. So he continues to get open. He continues to be kind of the feature. And I know Dak went down, unfortunate, but they have Dak, they have Zeke, even Pollard, but they have all those receivers. And it seems like Lamb is kind of the feature guy of that team and opening things up. Others are opening things up for him, but he's opening things up for the whole offense. So we see how dominant he is, and I think in the future, too, you can throw him outside even more, and you can make big-time plays because he's a really good contested catcher, too, which we haven't seen too much of. We've seen a little bit, but yeah, he's just constantly getting open, and teams see it on the film, and they still really can't stop it. So I didn't really have to think too much about that. I think especially after that last week game to add on top of the other ones, I think Lamb has clearly been the best rookie, the most impressive rookie. I know the quarterback position is a little more important, so maybe they have the edge to have a chance to be number one. But yeah, I'm gonna call an even game here with this. Every position's pretty equal, and there's a lot of guys we can talk about. A lot of guys. You see, I only have 3 up there that just missed. Those guys well deserving. But there are a ton of guys that we can go on and on about. So if your guy didn't make the top 15, it doesn't mean I don't think he's good. 15 is a very small number here, and it changes every week. So just continue to play. Another thing is, I think when people talk about rookies, they think their favorite rookie or their team's rookie, automatically he's playing great. How is he not up there? I think the problem with that is, and I'm not disagreeing, but I think the problem with that is, are you watching all the other rookies? It's tough to do. You have to kind of compare the other rookies, and if you're seeing every snap of that guy, are you seeing every snap of that other guy? That is, this Lamb, Worfs, Winfield, all these guys. So that's why it's tough. And I tend to see people when I talk about rookies, kind of just focus on the guy the only guy they've seen every snap from. So yeah, I can't wait to update this every week. This is the first of this series. You don't want to start this too early because there's a very small sample size. So now it's time to kind of get into this. So very exciting stuff. You can let me know what your rankings down there in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please smash that like button. Hopefully a lot of people enjoy this. It's something that I want to continue to do. So hopefully it gets pretty popular here so we can do that. But yeah, full NFL coverage. Again, always adding more. We have more on on Twitter. We have more on the Patreon. Links down below for those. But that looks like it's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.